Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. The Giants lost to the Padres today, 7-4. This cannot happen. I mean, the kind of loss it was, it's going to happen sometime, but the way it is, it's got to stop. The Giants bullpen has to show some ability to carry them through and get them to these victories in late inning tied games, and it has shown next to no ability to do that in recent times. They were pretty good yesterday at preserving a 1-0 lead, which was a good thing, but a tied ninth inning. So you're like, okay, you look at the Giants' record, and I haven't checked the record, I have to confess what it exactly is, but I think you would be pretty horrified if you checked the Giants' record in extra inning games this year. It would just be bad. This wasn't an extra inning game. It ended in the ninth inning. We wanted the Giants to have a chance in extra innings. But we got to start at the beginning. Lamont Wade Jr. had a home run in the first inning for the Giants. And he's been in a slump, but he's hit 2 recent homers. And you just really wonder, I honestly, if you're thinking about how to evaluate a player, I just really wonder what that means for a player if you see him in a slump, but then you see him hit for really a lot of power, and he hits consecutive, well, not exactly consecutive, but he hits home runs that are kind of next to one another, and you see a big power surge for him. I wonder if that is sometimes the ultimate sign of breaking out of a slump. I mean, it was the same thing really with Joey Bart. I mean, he hit like 3 home runs over the last week and a half, I think it was, week and a half or so. And that's just, you're saying, okay, he's hitting for some power. Maybe he's really improving here. And J.D. Davis, it didn't look like he'd be great, but he did hit, well, at least 2 home runs for the Giants already. I think it was 2, and they were kind of next to one another, so you have to see about him. Anyway, I really wonder what that means for Wade in this case. It is definitely a surge of something, and it was 2 hits they had on Sunday against the A's. One of them was a home run. But then Juan Soto tied this game with a home run of his own, and that's the consequence. Do you see what I mean? You don't get the guy you want at the trade deadline. A potential opponent can get him, and he can do damage against your team. And the Giants did make some attempt to get Soto, or at least they were thinking about him. Farhan Zaidi said so. But the Padres were way higher in the talk about it than the Giants ever were, so the Padres definitely seem to have been more diligent about getting him, and I think that's because the Giants, I'm afraid, they gave up on a few things at the trade deadline, and it's just, they needed to be more aggressive, I think, about getting Juan Soto, and your actions will have consequences because other teams can get the players that you were wanting, and Soto made an impact by driving in one with a homer against the Giants. I just knew we were going to see that at some point. I think it was the Padres who really made an attempt to get Soto like it mattered a whole lot for them. They would score 2 other runs off Alex Cobb, the starter for the Giants. Cobb went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs total, including the Soto home run. So, not great for Cobb. Just, he has not been great this year. Then after he left, Junior Marte came in and pitched an inning. And he's been pitching some of those scoreless innings. I think Marte I think he will be an often used reliever down the stretch, and how high leverage he can really work, it remains to be seen. The Giants need pitchers who can work high leverage and carry them through things, give them chances to win. So we'll have to, that's an interesting question with Marte. In how important situations can he pitch down the stretch? For now, Gabe Kapler is getting him appearances, having him appear in games. He's not really doing the biggest relief work. Then we get into the 8th inning, the Padres score 1 more run. Then in the top of the 9th inning, Josh Hader came in to pitch, and the Giants handed him a blown save. They seem to have a knack for coming back against Josh Hader. Really seems like the Giants have just that. Do you remember the huge comeback that ended in Mike Yastrzemski's grand slam against Hader earlier this year when he was with the Brewers? But he was another trade deadline acquisition for the Padres. I mean, the Padres traded Taylor Rogers, who's Tyler Rogers' brother. They traded Taylor Rogers to the Brewers to get Josh Hader. And the Giants came back against him for the second time this year today. And the way it ended was on Evan Longoria's sacrifice fly. I mean, before that, Brandon Belt was up. And I remember being a little, well, you don't have to remember too much to remember that because it happened today. So I'm just going to say I was a little disconcerted because I said, okay, Belt's a left-handed hitter. He's not really the all-star that he used to be, and now Hader does have the platoon advantage. Is he going to get him out? But Belt drew a walk. That brought up the right-handed hitting Longoria, and Longoria sent one out far enough that he was out, but it got a run home. So it was Longoria's sacrifice fly that tied up the game. That's the thing. It's not grounding into a double play, making the right kind of contact. That's what the Giants did well offensively in the ninth inning to tie the game against the Padres, one of the Padres' big trade deadline acquisitions, Josh Hader. So, at the end of that, though, I mean, Jock Peterson, Padres brought in a new pitcher, Tim Hill, and he struck out Jock Peterson. You know, Jock, you'd want to have him up. You'd want to have your all-star up in that spot, but Jock didn't deliver that time. He struck out. Then in the bottom of the ninth inning, Tyler Rogers came in and he blew the game. So he got an out, a couple of runners on base, including walking Juan Soto. Then he gave up a 3-run home run to Manny Machado. And I have to say, after he walked Soto, he had faced 3 hitters at that point. The 3-batter minimum rule was satisfied for him. The question would be, okay, Rogers was clearly struggling. He'd given up a single and a walk. Why didn't he come out of the game? Why did he stay in? Well, I guess the most obvious answer would be, well, okay, you could go to someone like Camilo Doval, but you're kind of wanting to save him for extra innings. And I understand that with the automatic runner and everything, that's going to be a big deal, but Rogers had shown he was struggling a bit, and there was no margin for error because if you don't get to the extra innings, I think that offsets this. I think Camilo Doval should have come right in right there. You give someone, sometimes giving someone just too many chances, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not using this in this context to refer to prospects getting their chances to play in the big leagues, although there's another discussion for that. I'm saying in a game, you give a guy too many chances, it can be a problem. It was time for Kapler to bring in Camilo Doval to face Manny Machado because this kind of thing, it just cannot happen if you can prevent it. And yeah, there are going to be extra innings if you get out of a spot like this, but you got to get there first. I really don't know what to say because Rogers ended up giving up a 3-run home run. It needed to be, I think Doval should have come in. It's not that Doval is necessarily even great at coming into a high-pressure spot and getting out of it. It's not that he's the guy I trust more than anyone else to do that he's the pitching out of jams guy, but he has been an effective closer for the Giants this year. It's mostly been when he's had a clean inning to start, but I still think he was the best bet here because he is really used as the ace reliever right now. He's the closer, he's got great stuff, and I think the best bet was to give him a chance to pitch. Then he could probably stay in then to pitch the 10th inning if he got out of the jam and it got that far. A 1.2 inning outing, it might be what you have to do if the only way to win this game is to go to extra innings. But this thing, I'm not happy with it. It's just not good Giants baseball here. And their Giants record is 54 wins, 56 losses, so I'm not sure all of the implications of that at this time. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you have not. Please email me too with questions or comments at gabrielfawn89@gmail.com. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.